Coming up on today's show, catch me if you can, Southampton marathon runners cooking on gas in sizzling conditions. Struggling Saints dumped out of the FA Cup. And a diamond in the rough, all the latest from the races at Wincanton. Good afternoon and welcome to Solent Sport News. I'm Miguel Machado and here are the latest sporting headlines. Sir Mo Farah broke a British record for the London Marathon in brutal temperatures. He finished third in a time of 2 hours, 6 minutes and 21 seconds in a race run in the highest temperatures ever recorded. Meanwhile, in Southampton also hosted its 4th annual ABP Southampton Marathon, Half Marathon and 10K event. Our reporter Linus Harrington was stuck in the middle of a crowd of over 30,000 people to bring us all the action.
3, 2, 1.
Runners at the ready. The streets of Southampton were occupied by thousands of competitors and spectators for the 2018 ABP Marathon, Half Marathon and 10K event. Under the sweltering sun, these brave men and women faced temperatures reaching near 30 degrees Celsius, all in the name of pride and PBs. And the organisers of this year's competition say the marathon is a perfect celebration of the city of Southampton.
It's been a fantastic event. This is the 4th year that we've been running it, the 2nd year that we've had the full marathon distance, and it's just been incredibly well supported by the whole community. We think probably around 30,000 people descended on the city today to come and cheer people on. We've got 850 volunteers out there helping the runners, and as I said, around 10,000 runners taking part today. So it's been incredible. It just shows, why we're proud of Southampton. It's an incredible city and we can all come together to do something that makes everyone feel great.
Conditions may have been ideal for barbecue and beaches, but not necessarily for running. With the heat climbing to such levels, you can mistake Southampton for Sydney. Runners may have gotten the added benefit of a tan from the event, but extra precautions were always in place to protect the competitors throughout the course.
It is a very sunny day today, so we've taken extra precautions to help the runners stay safe. So we've been issuing some advice on how to keep cool. We've ordered in lots and lots of extra water, so we've got more water on our water stations than ever before. More marshals out on the route than ever before, keeping an eye out on these guys. Lots of drinks for them at the finish line as well.
Marathons such as this are a huge source of fundraising for charities both locally and nationwide. The past 3 years of the ABP Southampton event have raised a substantial amount so far, and the hopes are for the final total from 2018 to push the funds over a very special milestone.
Well, this event is fantastic because it touches so many people in so many different ways. So you have the runners taking part, achieving great things, but you've also got lots of charities from Southampton and further afield receiving a lot of money through the fundraising. So I think we've raised probably around £600,000 for charity over the last 3 events, and we're hoping, fingers crossed today, we might hit the £1 million mark of £1 million raised for charity.
The full marathon was won by Southampton local Richard Waldron, setting a time of 2 hours, 40 minutes and 45 seconds, whilst the half marathon winner was also a city resident, with Aidan Lennon crossing the line with a time of 1:13:45. And even though not everyone was completing the long distance challenge in such quick times, there was huge cheers and applause for all the runners, no matter the time.
We just want to say a huge thank you to all of the runners who came and took part. It really wouldn't happen without you. Thank you to all of our ABP Southampton mile makers, all of the 850 volunteers helping to make this a huge success, and to everyone in Southampton as well for really embracing the event and coming along to cheer all of their friends and family.
Registration is already open for next year's marathon, so it may be worth starting your training now if you want to get a head start for the 2019 race. Linus Harrington, Solent Sports News.
Southampton's attention will be back on Premier League survival after going out of the FA Cup. The struggling Saints were knocked out of the competition after losing 2-0 to Chelsea in their semi-final at Wembley. Goals from Olivier Giroud and Alvaro Morata secured the Blues' spot in this year's final, where they will be playing with Manchester United. Southampton now look ahead to this weekend's South Coast derby as Bournemouth visits St Mary's. It's a crunch tie for the Saints, who remain 4 points from safety with just 4 games remaining. Cricket now, and North East is showing signs of fight for the Southwest. Hampshire are facing defeat of the Oval against Surrey. The Royals are currently 326 for 9, needing another 146 runs for victory. Sam North East is 123 not out. The Premier League will wave goodbye to one of its most iconic figures at the end of the season. Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger will step down from the Emirates hot seat after 22 years in charge, despite still having 1 year left on his contract with the club. Early odds on the Frenchman's successor have former Barcelona head coach Luis Enrique and Joachim Löw as favourites to take over. Arsenal will be hoping to build a celebratory goodbye for the Frenchmen when they take on Atletico Madrid on Thursday at the Emirates in the Europa League semi-final first leg. After losing the title last year to Southwark Pride in the final of the playoffs, the Solent women's basketball team has finished this season 10th place in the regular season with 7 wins and 15 losses, missing the playoffs. The team thoughts are already in the 18-19 season. By CJ Lee. Hello CJ, and thanks for coming. So unfortunately this season you didn't make into the playoffs after finishing in 10th in the regular season. What's the analysis you do to your team's performance?
I mean, for us, it's very disappointing. Last year, we had an amazing season. We won 23 games, only lost 3 games. 2 of those were in major finals. So coming into this season, obviously, our hopes and our expectations were very high. So to finish 10th is clearly disappointing for us. You know, there are some reasons. You know, we had personnel difficulties. Like every team, we had injuries. We lost an awful lot of games by very close margins. Which is something that we have to look at going into next year to make sure we can close out competitions. And I think this year the league's been closer than it's ever been. So I think any team from 1 to 11 could on a good day could have beaten each other.
Are you already planning the next season?
Absolutely. I mean, we actually start planning next year's season about halfway through the current season. So in terms of bringing in athletes, bringing in student scholars who can both help the university team and help the National League team, that process has to start pretty early. So we're always recruiting. We actually know in a couple of years' time, we know that there's an athlete that wants to come here. She's currently in year 10. So we've got to wait maybe 3 or 4 years before she's ready to be here. So that's kind of how far ahead we're planning. You know, on the flip side, you know, sport is fickle and, you know, it's performance sport. So yeah, I'm always planning, but I've always got one foot out the door because, you know, you have to put together good performances in order to keep your job and to know that you're still going to be here. But I've been really well supported by the guys at Team Solent Sport, and yeah, I'm not particularly worried right now. So yeah, we're recruiting, we're bringing in some new kids. We've got some scholars that we brought in this year that we know will start to get into a stride next year. So yeah, we're getting ready to get back to where we were kind of last season. And we look forward to see that next season. CJ, fantastic. It was a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you. In the Premier League, Mohamed Salah has been announced PFA Player of the Year. The Egyptian has had a phenomenal season, scoring 41 goals in all competitions for Liverpool. The 25-year-old arrived for €42 million last summer, and he was delighted with being awarded with the prestigious honour.
Congratulations, you are the PFA Player of the Year. How big an honour is this?
You know, it's a big, you know, I feel great about that. You know, I work hard and I'm very happy to win it.
What are your personal highlights of the season so far?
You know, for my personal thing is to win something with the team. I always think about the team, I don't think about myself. So the most important thing for me is to win something with the team. So we are very close now in the semi-final. So hopefully we're going to win it.
German international Leroy Sané won Young PFA Player of the Year in a season where he has played a major role in Manchester City winning the Premier League title. Sané has scored 13 goals and 14 assists in a campaign which has been his best so far in his career. In Rugby Union Racing, 92 will face Leinster in the European Champions Cup final after beating Munster 27-22 in the semi-finals at the Bordeaux on Sunday, with final take place on May 12th at Samames Stadium. Racing Dan Carter will be hoping to win the European Cup for the first time in his career as the two-time World Cup winner moves on to Kobelco Steelers in Japan after this season.
You know, it was a tough decision, but it just made so much more sense to be living and playing in Japan. You know, rugby's taking off there. There's going to be some huge interest. It's really going to grow over the next couple of years leading into the next World Cup. So, you know, it's an exciting time ahead.
On to horse racing now, and yesterday the Armed Forces took centre stage at Wincanton Racecourse for an 8-race meeting. Our reporter Quiz Loader reviews all the action.
With 8 races on Wincanton Sunday card, the feature race was the McCrory's Military Amateurs Rider Handicap Hurdle. Made up of military personnel, it was Lex Talionis for Captain Charlie O'Shea and trainer Charlie Mann who took the victory in the Somerset sunshine. I spoke to race day commentator Mike Cattermole about the importance of horse racing recognising the armed forces.
Representatives from the Army here today and the RAF, and it was just great to see these guys who are heroes coming here and you know, doing so well what they do as their hobby, but is also sometimes part of their profession too. But yeah, if we can, you know, embrace, is the word I was looking for, these military races, I think it's got to be applauded.
However, there was still a strong card of racing for the professionals. Wiltshire-based trainer Emma Lavelle completed a double with wins from the Sweeney and Buster Thomas. There was also local success for Cheltenham Gold Cup winning trainer Colin Tizard. After 2 laps and 3 miles around the countryside, Bear Rails won his first race since January 2017 under jockey Harry Cobden. On the other hand, did we see a star emerge from another local trainer, Paul Nichols?
Paul's always to be followed here at Wincanton. Always brings his family here with him. His dad's here today and his niece and everything like that. Of course, his nephew Harry's his assistant trainer. I just thought Diamond Guy looked a little bit classy out there today. At one stage, I was commentating thinking he was going to come well clear, but he started just looking around him a little bit in the closing stages. But he's clearly got a ton of ability.
To the end of the day, champion jockey Richard Johnson rode 28 one-shot Ebony Gale to victory, where he will be looking to be crowned champion jockey for the 3rd successive season on the Jumps final day this Saturday at Sandown. After a thrilling day's racing, it was time for the horses to have a cool down and be put away ready for their next race day. Chris Loader, Solent Sport News.
That's all for this afternoon's bulletin. Be sure to follow us on @Solent Sport News on Twitter and Facebook, and we'll be back next week for all the latest sport headlines. Goodbye.